Hey everyone, it is Elsa932 on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me on this second episode of the Kingscourt. Please make sure that you have hit the like, subscribe, the notification bell so you know whenever I go live. Okay? I just want you to be able to be here with us when the time comes. So just come on in, just kick your heels. We do have a poll again about the dates. We had 3 dates in Kingscourt again, and I want to know which date would you prefer to go on? Okay? Which date, not necessarily the king. I just put the king's name there so you know exactly who we're talking about or to, refresh your memory. But one of them took the girls for a bar, dart throwing. One was pickleball and another one was jet ski water sports. So definitely make sure you, click in the poll, the active poll right now. And if you are on the replay, please state in the comments which date you would prefer. So let's get started. Okay, let's get started. So the way we ended last episode is the way we began this one. Okay. The ladies are told they get to move in. Now, what I gotta say is, Titus and Carlos, you are not convincing in the way you were trying to act surprised that the ladies were moving in that night. You were not convincing at all, sirs. I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry. So, Tyson does, hug Brookel later on and says they need to skydive again, maybe just them. And she tells, the producers that she was never a problem in her relationships because the men come back. It proves that she was never the problem. And y'all, I got a short for y'all with that coming up later in the week. So Carlos talks to Janae, and she's, Lexi says she feels left out. Now because we may not, let me put up the OGs. Here are the OGs. Here's the ladies, that were allowed to move in with the kings that are right there. So Carlos is talking to his girl Janae, Miss Pink Dress. And Lexi feels left out because he's always with Janae. Now, the next morning, only a couple of the ladies were in the kitchen, and Titus and Tyson decided it was a great idea to get the pots and pans, and bang them around to wake up the ladies. I'm sorry, gentlemen. That is not a very good roommate or gentlemanly thing to do. If the ladies are not ready, you can holler out. But the pots and pans, oh, heck no. Oh, heck no with the pots and pans. Don't wake me up like that. Oh, I will be grouchy. I will be grumpy. You would not see the best side of me. So Titus does joke that Dr. Shawana gave him the best church hug. A kind of side hug. And she's like, hey, I gave you what you gave me. Dr. Shawana, feisty. She says she's trying to dial it back a bit since he told her she was aggressive at the mixer. So careful what you ask for, Mr. O'Neill, because you just might get it. Okay? Be careful. So the gentlemen leave after breakfast. Why do they leave the house? Because they now have to meet with the new queens. There are new queens coming into this episode. And I feel like every episode, are we going to get new queens? Well, here are the ladies, and I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the bio. Here are the new queens that the gentlemen have to pick from. So let me start at the top. Ariel. She's from Houston, Texas. She's 39, and she's a doctor of physical therapy, and she's the mom of a 5-year-old son. She's a hopeless romantic, even though she's been engaged 3 times. Y'all heard me. She's been engaged 3 times, but she's a hopeless romantic. I just don't understand. She collected engagement rings like Carlos was probably collecting NBA championship rings. I'm sorry, lady. I'm sorry. I'm going to need more, more information. Brianna is 41. She's a tech office manager in Los Angeles, California. Now, Brianna, with the lovely big natural hair, Brianna told us later on, she tells us she has dated all types. Politicians, an astronaut, athletes. Don't play with her, okay? Then we have Kat. Kat is a DJ and singer living in Miami, Florida. She is 41. She divorced her husband in 2020 after he asked for open marriage, y'all. Okay. Then we have Idlewise. Now, she is originally from Spain. She's 38 and she's a model living in Miami, Florida. Okay. Felicia. Felicia is 36, a business analyst out of Houston, Texas. She sets her sights on one of the men already, and we're going to figure it out. But she has dated rappers and athletes. You know, she said when she sees something, she's after it. Then we have Sarah. Sarah is 36. She's a physician's liaison in Los Angeles, California. Now, physician's liaison, I'm not sure exactly what that is. All I'm thinking is it may be a nurse that may be relaying the patient's information back and forth between doctor and patient. But if you do know what it is, please put it in the comments. And last but not least, we have Steph. Steph is 36. She's an entrepreneur out of Atlanta, Georgia. So I need to know what is the entrepreneur side of these things. Okay, so that's the new ladies. So when they introduce themselves, Idlewise says her temper can be intimidating to people. Why are we flashing a temper? Why are we flashing a temper? And don't tell me it's your Spanish blood, because Spanish people are amazingly nice and sweet people that I have, experienced. Ariel tells us that she she called off her wedding the day before because her ex cheated on her. That's where we learned that she was engaged and she could see another, one coming. Hey, shApp, glad to have you here. So I was like, she just collecting rings. Felicia, she bounces. Okay, y'all, they had to do an athletic approach. They were on the basketball court. They had to do a little running around on the court, a little obstacle course thing, and shoot the basket. So Felicia decided, one ball is everybody. She bounced 2 balls at a time. And I'm like, gentlemen, please don't think she won a poly relationship just because she can handle those 2 balls at a time, okay? But she told us she dated rappers and athletes. She goes for what she wants, and she wants Tyson. Get in line. Kat says she grew up watching Tyson on TV. I was like, that is not a good sign. How old were you, Kat? Sarah was struggling with handling the basketballs, y'all. She said this is not her color wheel, okay? And when she tried for a 3-pointer, it just fell flat. Steph says, she has handled basketballs on the court. She's a tomboy, plays sports, and she has confidence. Brianna had said in her intro that she dated celebrities, politicians, astronauts, and it's all about how you carry yourself. But she struggled, y'all. Okay, Brianna was the tallest queen in the bunch. She looked so good, and she struggled just bouncing the ball around the pictures. But she scored the basket at the end. So it ain't how you start, it ain't how you make it down the court, down the hardwood, it's how you finish. And Brianna got that basket, and everybody cheered her on because it was a struggle. So the Kings are told they have to choose one of these ladies to go on a date. Carlos chooses Idlewise. Tyson chooses Stephanie. No, sorry. Tyson chooses Stephanie, and Titus chooses Ariel. He says she is fit, fly, and the hair is hearing. And I was like, Titus, what you know about the hair is hearing? What do you know about the phrase? And what you know about it, Mr. Bald, okay? But he's a good-looking bald guy. So, y'all, then the OGs are brought back in. And the Kings have to pick 2 other women from any of the women, OGs and new queens, okay? And Brickell said, what new queens? Carlos looks at Tyson and says, you in trouble. And Tyson's like, don't I know it? Don't I know it? So the mixer with new queens, OGs, Titus is pulled over by, Ariel, who lets him know he's not in trouble and is rubbing his arm because Dr. Shawana came over and said, what you been doing all day? What you been up to? With one hand on her hip. Ariel is like, hey, he asked me on a date. And Dr. Shawana is like, well, guess what? I was his first date. Ariel says that she exudes confidence and does not need to be in your face and desperate. Are you calling Dr. Shawana desperate, Miss Ariel? You just got here. Hate to go to Africa. Glad to have you here. Are you calling Dr. Shawana desperate? Okay. But I love how Ariel is handling Dr. Shawana, and I'm glad that Titus says nothing. Let the ladies communicate and observe, okay? Carlos sits down with Janae and some of the other women, but he decides to get up and leave and go get water. Janae's like, oh, I'm going to go get water. He's like, I'll join you. I'll see y'all later, ladies. Carlos, you're already like a puppy dog behind Janae. I'm sorry. Now, Steph. Okay, so mix it with all the ladies. Okay, all the ladies. Steph is feeding Tyson some grapes. Hey, Plain Janie, glad to have you here. Yeah, Titus is a real dude. He's a real man. Okay. So Steph decides to feed Tyson grapes from her hand, and Tyson's like, "Ooh, I like this." But then Tyson takes the grapes and continues to feed Sarah. Continues to feed Idlewise, and I'm like, Tyson, you like spreading yourself around, don't you? Like the grapes, you like spreading yourself around. I'm like, she was being kind and she was showing interest in you by feeding you, but then you turn from her, you fed her, and then you turn from her and decide to feed the other ladies. Tyson, you here to play? Whew. So, Carlos has a very pleasant conversation with Kat, okay? She's very pleasant. She told him she was married before, and during the pandemic, the husband wanted an open relationship. She said she'd been guarded for years, and it has been doing the healing work. Brickell says that all their dates may be new people. She gossiping with the other ladies. All the dates may be new people. Like, you know, why would they want to talk to them? I said, Brickell, this is a mixer. They are new ladies. You need to mix. That's what it's called. Stop sulking in a corner and talking to other girls and go mix. You are hooked on Tyson when Carlos is certainly there and Titus is certainly there. There are men to mix with. Oh, my word. So Carlos and Janae go and talk privately, okay? Let me see if I can, since I have them up. So let me put up the OG. So Carlos and Janae go talk privately, I guess, after they get water, okay? And while they're doing that, Lexi says there's only two men in here, really, because Carlos seems like he's locked in with Janae. And Janae's holding his hands, and they're doing the locking fingers thing, you know, the two hands. And I was like, okay, Janae, I see you marking your territory. You're doing it nice and subtle. You're doing it nice and subtle so the other ladies, you know, if they're paying attention, they're going to see those, you know, intertwined fingers. And she is focused on him. And he tells her, hey, she is his front runner, and asks her to go on the date that he has planned. So, but Janae tells us she's not sure how strong the connection is since she's been cheated on in the past. So she's kind of like, likes him, but she's guarded, which is good to know. Now, Brickell and Liliana in the corner talking about Tyson. And they pull Tyson to the side and say, we need to talk. He said, well, can we do this at home? Could you wait till we get home? And the way he was kind of saying, can we wait till we get home? It was kind of childish to me. Tyson was acting a little bit childish to me. I don't know about you. Hey, TB21, glad to have you here. But Tyson Beckford at that moment when he's saying, can we wait till we get home to talk? Can we just have fun right now? Because, you know, when we get home, we could go in the hot tub and we could talk. And, you know, I don't like this jealousy stuff. It was very childish to me, very childlike behavior. It could be he's trying to soothe them. He doesn't want to escalate anything, certainly. But even his body language was hunched over like a kid asking the mom, can I stay out and play with my friends some more? It gave me that. And this is the second episode and the second instance he's giving me very childish mannerisms. Tyson does mix with Sarah, and you know, when he mixes with Sarah, let me pull up the new lead. When he mixes with Sarah, Ariel bounces in, but he still asks Sarah out on a date. Tyson's like, okay, you cute, Ariel, okay. But Sarah, would you like to go on a date? Oh my word. Then we go back. Tyson and Lexi have a talk. Lexi, says that Titus and Lexi talk. And Lexi is talking about, Carlos is isolating himself. You need to date around. There's all these ladies. You got to mix. And Titus like, wait a minute. You talking about me? I thought I was mixing. No, not you, but Carlos. And Titus is like, you got to go talk to Carlos. You have Carlos issues. You ain't got Titus issues. So don't bring your Carlos issues to Titus, is what Titus was really saying. You need to go talk to the person that you have a problem with. And this is one thing I cannot stand in dating shows. Why are you talking about the other person when you're on the date with someone else? Why is their name even coming up in conversation? What is that? Now, all Titus is going to remember is Lexi complaining about Carlos. And the manner in which you complain about Carlos, he's going to keep in his mind. So again, what did you wish to accomplish, Lexi, in trying to talk to Tyson about Carlos? This was not going to work. So in the meanwhile, Dr. Shawana comes over and she kind of saves the day. She's like, I want to give you all some time to talk, okay? Y'all had some time to talk. Now I'm going to cut in. And he does ask Dr. Shawana to come on his date. So Lexi does go and talk to Carlos. And she's like, hey, you have isolated yourself. I feel like you have found your queen. And he said, hey, my best connection is with Janine. She's like, you need to make yourself more open. I need to be able to get to know you. He's like, okay, what do you want me to know? Here's your time. Y'all, why does Lexi choke? Why does Lexi is talking about everything but, I'm kind of closed off. I have, walls up and Carlos is standing there giving her the attention she asked for and she chokes. He said, hey, I gave her the time and she didn't use it. I was like, Lexi, get off my screen. Please go away, Lexi. Liliana goes to talk to Titus, sorry. She says, hey, Tyson ain't the only one around. Okay? So she going around to talk to Titus and she's going to talk to Carlos. And when she goes to talk to Titus, Titus is like, well, what about, Tyson? I was like, Titus, you just told Lexi, don't talk to you about the other king. Now here you are asking Liliana, well, what about Tyson? Titus, that is the first time you've disappointed me. I said, look at you. Look at you. You're having a double standard. You're having a double standard. You can ask about another king. Well, what about your connection with Tyson? But you don't want to hear Lexi when she's talking about Carlos. Take your issue over there. But he does ask Liliana out on a date, on his date. So what we do know at the time is Titus chose Ariel, Dr. Shawana, and Liliana. So Tyson mingles and then he asks others for a date, okay? And Tyson's date, y'all, Tyson picks from the new ladies. Tyson dates are Steph, Sarah, and Felicia. Now, y'all, Braquel is salty. Braquel is salty. Braquel is like, she, Kat, and Lexi are the only ones without a date. She's confused. How could this have happened? Braquel, we can tell you how it happened. I hope today now you know how it happened. That whole what new queens and that cornering Tyson at a mixer to chastise him, like scold him in front of other women, it ain't gonna work, Braquel. All you can say is like, hey, could you make some time for me? And y'all could talk, but talk about anything but, and then wait till you get home to discuss the other things. But you confused when you've been sulking and just talking to the other woman about what the men are doing wrong. This is not going to get you dates, Braquel. I'm sorry. So Titus and Dr. Shawana talk, about the aggressive comment he made. Okay. She says she knows he wasn't trying to be malicious, but Black women have been called aggressive and it's a microaggression they have to deal with daily at work. And she says that is the case with her. Now, what I appreciate with Titus, as always, Titus comes in and Titus is like, takes off his shades, looks her in the eye, and he apologizes. He sincerely apologizes. He did not mean to make someone he does care about feel any kind of way with his words or deeds. and he does call her, a Kool-Aid chick. And, it was a great talk. I don't know. You can let me know in the comments. What do you think? But I thought it was a wonderful talk with Dr. Shawana and with Titus. He said he values this. This is what he wants in a woman, one who can help him grow and be better. Okay? So, y'all, after they have this wonderful conversation between Titus and Dr. Shawana, the new ladies move in. The new ladies come in, and the OGs are shady. Tyson decides to entertain the ladies by the pool, and they say he got on zaddy shorts. Now, y'all, we know what zaddy shorts mean, but Tyson says he is their pool boy for the day. Now, Lexi is talking to Dr. Shawana at the counter and kind of loud whispering. Carlos has had infidelities in his past marriages. And Janae, y'all, is there on the other side of the counter, like picking up food. And Janae is like, I think, Lexi was saying this so I can overhear it and to get under my skin. And Janae said, hey, it took her over a year to get over infidelity in her past relationship, and she doesn't want to go back there. Dr. Shawana tells Lexi, hey, everyone has a past, so ask him about it. But y'all, Lexi sounds so spiteful, and you can let me know if you think so as well. Lexi sounds so spiteful. She says she dug into his past, and he has cheating behavior. This is not king behavior. While she's sitting in a confessional with Brickell, and they snickering, laughing like this is high school foolishness. I didn't like it at all. Lexi, Brickell, I did not like that moment. It made y'all look it was unbecoming of a queen. Let's put it that way. So y'all, Titus has his date, and let me remind you, Titus's date, he has water sports. He said he's from Tampa, so this is what he's used to, having fun on the water. And he decides to take Ariel away to kind of talk to her. She says she has a son who's autistic and the challenges she faces in raising him. She does say the dad is not involved at all, which I find very, hard. I could imagine all she goes through, because she said she had to move several times, I think twice or 3 times, in order to find the proper services for him. But I noticed something. Titus, I saw this, and the camera kept it. He guessed that she had a 5-year-old daughter, not a son. I said, Titus, were you half listening? Because everything else you kind of pick up on and you keep the information and you're right on the money. But for some reason, you guess, oh, you have a 5-year-old daughter? She's like, no, I have a son. And I think he's either 5 or 6. But he does talk about his work with kids, and, he loves who she is and that she is a physical therapist. So she is of service to people. Remember, Titus O'Neil is of service. He is someone who basically, manages nonprofits and a school, and definitely into education, with children. Now let's get over to Carlos's date. Now, Carlos decides to take these 3 ladies, Brianna, Janae, and Idlewise. But y'all, I didn't have much notes on this other than Idlewise is like, she's very, happy and chipper, and, everything is so, cutesy. And Janae is basically flatline, like, okay, yeah, all right. And Idlewise is like, where's the fun? Where's the, bubbliness? Brianna too was bubbly, and Janae is very even keel and chill. And Janae and Carlos did not, they were, on one side of pick a ball against Brianna and Idlewise, and the way it looked was that, Idlewise and Brianna won the match. That's how it looked. So next up, Tyson had a date, and these are the ladies that Tyson took on a date. It was at a bar. It was like bar games. They were doing darts, and he said, hey, who is closest to the bullseye gets one-on-one time with him. Y'all, Sarah wins. And she said, I want my personal time now, Tyson. He's like, whenever you want it. She's like, now. He's like, okay, now, okay. So Sarah tells us that she is freezing her eggs. Hey, Sheila, glad to have you here. Sarah tells us she's freezing her eggs. If her husband does not come along, she will have a child. And she's only had 2 long-term relationships in her life. Now, she didn't really answer, or we didn't see it, about why no one has scooped her up, because Tesla's like, you are really an awesome lady. How come, no one scooped you up? She never really answered. Tyson said his last relationship was super public, super messy, so he stopped dating for the past 9 years. I don't know about you. I don't believe Tyson ain't been dating for 9 years. I believe it ain't public. I believe it ain't public. And Tyson, I need your definition of dating. What is your definition of dating? That is all I need to know, because I don't believe him. So please put in the comments whether you believe Tyson has stopped dating for the past 9 years. 9 years. So Sarah does ask a great question. She said, will you be public with a girl again? He said he is ready. He believes he is ready. And he said he's not a jealous person. And his queen has to realize that folks will flirt with him all day. Men and women. He said he don't need to be in the club. He will be the, come home kind of guy. But she has to know that people will be flirting with him. So Tyson, how that would help is if we know what flirting behavior you deem acceptable and what is not acceptable. Because even though you're a public figure and stuff like that, I know people will want to touch you and put their hands on you. I think you need to tell your person, hey, I'm not going to let people touch me other than my arms, or hug me by putting their hand on my back, or don't want people to touch me at all. But, we know you have to be friendly. We know you have to be, out there for your, for your brand. Tyson is there for the check and the shenanigans. I believe you, Sheila. I believe he is there for the check and the shenanigans. And I believe the show is using him as the premier king. His name rings bells further. I'm not saying Carlos and Titus don't ring bells, but Tyson Beckford's name rings further and louder than the other two kings. So I think Sarah had wonderful conversation, but we need to know what is acceptable behavior. What kind of flirting are you talking about, Tyson? People may flirt with you, but how are you flirting back? I know you have to engage with your fans, but again, communication is key. So we go back to the kings discuss their dates, okay? The kings go and they discuss their dates with the Peets, Holly Robinson Peet and her husband. So Titus says he will date Ariel again. He doesn't want any more kids of his own, but he is willing to go on this path with Ariel. That was absolutely amazing. As Holly Robinson Peet said, you know how many men won't, date a single mother and then accept the responsibility of her child. He told one girl he's working. Yes, he did at the mixer. I'm working here. Again, we need to know what that kind of working means. So Tyson says it was too many options for him on his date. Now, let me remind you who Tyson took on his date. Tyson said there were too many options of new ladies for him to pick any of the OGs like the other guys did. So they talked about Brookel and how Brookel has got Tyson in the hot seat. But he's one of them. I can't remember what Tyson or Carlos says. Hey, you told them that after you skydived that y'all were bonded for life. So that's where the ladies are coming from. But then you don't tell them, no dates the next day. Don't have any expectations with this bonded for life stuff. One of the gentlemen did tell him that. So Carlos also said, Carlos talked about, that Cat in the new ladies, that Cat is cool, but there's no connection. And I know there's another group of ladies coming, so I'm going to change probably the color of their names so you know which ones were the first group of ladies, second group of ladies, and then third group, if that will help. Let me see what this bachelor format sucks. It does suck, because how is the OG supposed to develop any kind of connection when there's constantly new ladies turning his head? It could be ladies turning his head, but constantly, I don't like it. I think the average sports fans may be more familiar with the athletes. Tyson is not a young man. The younger generation may not be familiar with him. Good point to go to Africa. But I will say that unless you like WWE, Titus O'Neil is not in your color wheel. Unless you like basketball, even if you did like basketball, no shade, Carlos, no shade. But Carlos has not won any NBA championship rings. He has been on the All-Star team. So I think it will be definitely a Chicago fan. Carlos will be situational or locational where people may know him because he's been on the team when they were a fan. So, and Titus is WWE. Right, Sheila? You never heard of those two guys? I had heard of Titus O'Neil. I knew about Titus O'Neil. Okay. Now, but still, Tyson Beckford's name rang louder to me. Carlos, I have seen him before in the NBA when they showed him in his NBA athletic attire. I was like, oh yeah, I've seen him on the court. I've seen him on the hardwood, but know his stats and all the teams he played for? Not before now. So definitely I knew Titus O'Neil, but that's because I was into WWE. And then that's situational. So Carlos does say that Kat is cool, but there's no connection. Titus say his conversation with Lexi turned him off because she talked about Carlos all the time. So later on, Carlos, let me get up the OG so you remember who he was talking to. Carlos and Janae have a talk about his infidelity. He said he was married at 20, but the NBA changed things. He was getting attention and he slipped and fell, y'all. That's what he said. He was getting attention. He fell for it. He had a fall from grace. I don't know how you slip and fall in, okay? I don't know how you slip and fall in the kiddies, but he was cheating. He said he has since gone to a therapist. He's gone to a men's retreat, and he's had a closer walk with the Lord. I'm not going to talk about, whether this is going to cure him of his infidelity. We don't know. We just going to watch how Carlos is moving in this show, this edited show, y'all, because remember, it's being edited in a particular way for us to feel a particular way, okay? So he said this decision has made him a better man and a better father. Now he's a different man. So then Janae, you ain't slick with me. You ain't slick at all. You've already talked about a second marriage. Girl, he did. Well, let's say editing cut out his talk about the second marriage. We couldn't fit it all in the edit. So Lexi, you ain't slick, girl. She said, what? Not Lexi, Janae. Janae said, well, Lexi brought it to my attention and she made it seem like you weren't a great person. Janae, I see you. You did not have to carry the bones and tell Carlos how you found out. But again, you were like, oh, you were a different man now. That is wonderful. You have grown, blah, blah, blah. And guess who told me? Janae, yes, it was nice, calm, sweet, and however you needed to tell him. But girl, I see it as, well, you know how I found out? Lexi told me. Your other girl, Lexi, you knew he wasn't spending time with Lexi because he's spending all the time with you, Janae. He's spending all the time with you. So why did you have to put that final name, do that final nail in, about Lexi? But Lexi doing it to herself. She did not need help from you, Janae. So Carlos is like, you can see a lot about him on the internet, but, this is about maturity for Janae to come and talk to him rather than be like Lexi and plant seeds around the other ladies to doubt him and to paint him in a certain light. Janae says she feels calm and safe with him, and she likes that he answered all her questions and took accountability for his past because, hey, most, I guess the men that she knows, they don't do that. She likes that, and they share a kiss, y'all. It was quick, but they do share a kiss. Now, let me get you to who are the ladies on the bottom, okay? The bottom. These were the ladies invited to the Last Supper mixer. Now, I know that ain't what they call it, but it's on your way out the door mixer. On your way out the door. She did ask for the kiss. Yes, she did. Janae should run once a cheetah. I believe in that, Sheila, but I'm a watch and see. I'm a wait and see. I'm a collect evidence. So we have Sarah, Lexi, Brookel, and Liliana. Oh, Lexi lacks emotional intelligence. Girl, I saw Lexi when she was in that confessional with Brookell and they was snickering about Carlos. I was like, you sound like your teenage daughters right now. I was like, this is you rolling back. So Lexi tells Liliana why she here. She says she has an ugly mouth when somebody pisses her off. Lexi, that is not queen-like behavior. You were talking about Carlos and his cheating past is not king-like behavior. This little, I got an ugly mouth when somebody pisses me off. That is not queen-like behavior, sweetie. I'm sorry. Did you forget you were mic'd up and all the cameras were in the room? So Sarah and Tyson talk, and Sarah admits to Tyson that she is romantically interested in him. And y'all, Tyson just gushes. Tyson like, oh, could you say that again? What did you say? Could you tell me again? He made her repeat it, that she is romantically interested in him. And he said, hey, she needs to take her time with him. And he says, oh, he wants a nurturer, someone who would nurture him and he could nurture them back. And I'm like, Tyson, you want someone to fan your flames. You want someone to compliment you because that whole thing was very performative. I'm sorry. Oh, you like me? What did you say? That was just too much. That was another instance, Tyson, of you just playing games in our face. So Carlos and Lexi, she tells him he's not giving her the space to connect with him. And, he says everyone has a past. And she says she's going to talk to him. She was going to talk to him because this is not king-like behavior. He's like, well, instead of talking to the other ladies, you should have come talk to me. You shouldn't be spreading this because it is toxic and it is messy what she did. And though she deserves everything that she wants with someone who wants her back, but she is not for him. And he excuses himself. Carlos, you took a little dig. It was a gentlemanly dig, and I was here for it. He's like, it's toxic and it's messy what you did. Okay? You should have come to me. But you deserve everything you want in your life. You ain't for me. I was like, Carlos, that was a wonderful Southern dressing down. That was a gentleman telling a lady, back off of me. You ain't the one. In a very nice way. I liked it, Carlos. I liked that moment. Now, Brookell asks, why is she here? Brookell goes to Tyson. Why am I here? Tyson looks at Sarah, who is standing next to Brookell, and says, she know I don't like a jealous woman. Y'all, Brookell was pissed, and I would have been pissed, but I wouldn't have done what Brookell said. I asked you a direct question. I'm looking directly at you, but you go look at the woman next to me to answer. That, to me, was a bit rude and disrespectful. Tyson is a whole lot of childish behavior. I know you don't want to be confrontational. I know you don't want to have drama, whatever, but the respectful thing is to answer the person who has asked you the question. It's like, she knows I don't like a jealous woman. I don't like it. So y'all, Brookell don't like it so much. She goes to production. She go to production room and's like, get this mic off of me. I'm leaving. I'm done. I quit. So I quit. I'm gone. So Tyson decides like, I ain't going with that drama. So he goes to talk to Lexi. Tyson, asked, did she do what she did with Carlos because she was salty? Okay. Was she salty because of what Carlos did many years ago? Because it looks like that, baby. It's the way Tyson said it that tells me, Tyson, you know how to handle difficult conversations. You know how to handle things and get to the meat and potatoes of it, but for somebody else, not for you. Not for you. Because the way you handled the conversation with Lexi about Carlos, you were steadfast. You looked her in the eye. He's like, you listened to her. And then you said, you sure you weren't trying to be salty? And, throw salt on Carlos's game for what happened many years ago? He said, because that's what it looked like, baby. That was very mature. But the way you handled Brookell was not mature at all. Brookell remembered why she didn't F with him online. Girl, they were just doing hello, hi, you look beautiful, thank you, and hello emojis, and that's it. And she remembers why it don't need to go anywhere. So Lexi, though, while she's talking to Tyson, and Tyson have that mature, focused conversation with her, she's like, I don't have the time. And he's like, "You're leaving?" She's like, "I'm going to get eliminated anyway." She didn't want to talk. She knew he was a playboy, but wanted to see if he matured. Not well. You didn't need to go through all that, Sheila, to find out if he was mature or not. The way Tyson was moving in them mixes, you knew he wasn't mature. So Liliana thinks that the ladies, Lexi and Brickell, are trying to save their image from getting eliminated to actually quitting. I think that looks worse. Please put in the comments. Let me know what you think. I think it's worse that they're having these little tantrums and then all of a sudden they are disappearing. Like, I quit. I was going to be voted out anyway. You don't know. I mean, Lexi kind of know. Lexi would have known she getting the boot. But Brickell, you didn't have to get the boot. Liliana could have been getting the boot because she ain't got no more connection with Tyson, really. And Titus ain't feeling her. It could have been Liliana. Y'all are, here's the thing, ladies. And here's what I don't like. Y'all are letting the men off of making a decision. You think you're saving face, but the thing is, will they step up and cordially send you home? You're taking the decision out of their hands because you want to save embarrassment. No, you're embarrassing yourself more. What you should have done is you should stay right there and let him be the leader you claim you want and let him say why it is and go through the process and the ceremony, the pomp and circumstance. You are there for the show. Now you're giving them a whole lot more to talk about. This is the show. You sit there, you graciously take it on because right now, Lexi and Brickell, guess what? You are making Jenny from last week look like she got more sense than you. Jenny knew she lied to Titus. She knew she was getting eliminated. And she sat there and they eliminated her. And she said, "Thank you for the experience. I appreciate it all. Wish y'all all the best." Now she looks like she got more behavior and sense than y'all. And I cannot stand that. Y'all have wasted my time. I'm sorry. They have wasted the time. Liliana was staying for that. I don't think she was staying for that. It was the same thing. She said what I was thinking, Sheila W. She said what I was thinking. They trying to save face because they don't want to sit down at the dinner and get eliminated. So I'd rather quit. No, ladies. Go through the process. See, I guess for me, I'm a confrontational person. I would rather you need to rescind my invitation. I'm not moving out until I am told I need to move out. And you need to tell me to move out. But y'all, it was them leaving. Brickell, you could have said what you said on the way out the door. Brickell said she came for love and clearly it's not here. Y'all, they packed up their bags. They showed them walking out the door with a suitcase. Now, Lexi, you were salty. You were all things not queen-like, okay? While Brickell, you kind of saved a little bit of face by saying you came here for love, clearly not here. Yeah. But Lexi, these men are old and bald. I have no time. While you're packing up your suitcase. Then you should have left early, sweetheart. Then you should have left early. He said, Carlos is making up stuff to eliminate me. No, we all saw it, Lexi. We saw you throwing salt on Carlos's name with the ladies. Let everybody find the bones themselves. You don't need to talk about the man. Just decide not to date him anymore. That's all. She said there's nothing wrong with her. He is ghetto. His way of thinking is ghetto. His history is ghetto. And she walked out. I was like, Lexi girl. Them busters aren't worth the stress or foolery. I would have done the foolery because at least I would have left with a meal, okay? I would have ate at that elimination dinner. Thank you all so kindly for having me here. Thank you, Tyson, for us being able to skydive. That was a wonderful experience I will take with me. See, I am not going to let you get me out of character. This is going to be on the internet forever. This is Bravo. This ain't, another channel. This is Bravo. People are watching. And Lexi, and y'all stickering on the confessional? Yes. Actually, it's obvious that the men weren't into them. Yes, it was obvious, but my thing is, I would have dressed my best and graciously stepped out and da-da-da-da-da. Jenny knew on episode 1 she was not going to stay with them Kings. She knew she was not what they were looking for. Yes, she lied, but Jenny went along with the whole program, with the whole procedure, and she went out looking way better than Lexi and Brickell right here went out. And I cannot stand to see that. Lexi was salty from day 1. She was. It's like you're dating there with men that are dating other women. You cannot have him all to yourself. And you have to, make space and time. And if Janae is sitting there with Carlos constantly, you can bring them both a bottle of water and sit down too, like Dr. Shawana did. She said, hey, Titus, I gave you some time to talk to Lexi, but I came over later. She gives him time, and then she inserts herself. Is that on TV? Not on TV. But no, Brickell, Lexi, I do not like how y'all exited at all. I wish y'all would have been more tactful, more graceful. I know you're upset. And you could have been tactful at the table, and then at your final confessional be like, this is some bull. They knew what they were doing. But again, you allowed them to push you off your square. You did. You allowed the show to push you off your square, and you allowed this to kind of allow you to look so bad. But Brickell, I got a short for you. The way she said, I'm never the problem. They always come back to me. So when they come back, that means you're never the problem. Brickell, we see a problem right here. And I think I will give you some grace in that maybe you have not had to date a man with his other prospective ladies all around and living in the same house. So it will be hard to see him, but have you not navigated social settings? You say you're a model. You say you know the industry. You say you know what's going on. My lady, I didn't see any time that you spent with Tyson other than we need to talk when we get home. That is not going to be a fun conversation at all. That's not going to be fun. He does not want more stress in his life. You are his queen. You're not to bring more stress to him. Okay? But the way you ladies walked out of there with your suitcases in your, I hate to say street clothes, but you're dressed down. You see, I would have been leaving in my gown. See, that's the thing. I would have been leaving as a high stepper. I would not have been going out there in my sweater and jeans, dragging my own suitcase out the door. I was like, production, y'all know you're foul for that. Y'all had the ladies drag their own suitcase down the stairs, out the door. Meanwhile, Jenny and I believe it was Jasmine from last week, they got the exit ramp in their wonderful, beautiful gowns, and you saw their last confessional and you heard them, and they had a wonderful exit. Meanwhile, y'all dragging a suitcase to the curb, waiting for the Uber. I didn't like that, ladies. And for all the other ladies there, please tell me y'all left graciously. I do not need to see this on my screen anymore. Y'all are queens. I don't... Lexi, this was not queen-like behavior, like you said about Carlos, not king-like behavior. But y'all, let me know what y'all thought of this episode. If y'all have any other comments here, please put in a comment while I let everybody know. Please make sure you have liked, you share, you subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you are here because we are doing El Cid Unscripted on Friday. It's going to be about music. It's going to be about music, okay? Because we love talking about music, and I got some controversial lists for music, okay? Then I am still doing Alone, the survival show on the History Channel. That is usually released on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm not doing anything on Sunday. No, so this is only Match Me Abroad on Tuesdays at 5. Kingscourt on Wednesdays at 5, and El Cid Unscripted. I want to leave room for Project Runway. Project Runway is coming on the 31st, and in August, Love is Blind UK is coming. So I want to leave a little bit of breathing room. I don't want to burn out too much. But hey, if your notification is on, then whenever I hit that live, an impromptu live, then you definitely gonna know exactly what I'm doing. Sheila W says, I didn't like how they told them not to help the newbies with their bags. Oh, Sheila, I remember that. When the newbies were moving into the house, The OGs were like, don't help them with the bags. Yeah, the OGs were acting really nasty. Not a good look. Just because you were there first doesn't mean you will be there last. Does not mean you will be the queen left standing. But you know what? A queen don't let her crown slip, okay? And you don't let anybody see the crown is slipping. So again, there's nothing that needed to be said. Brickell, when you said what new queens, that started the downward spiral at all. Sorry, Brickell, but I understand why, you are not there. And you kept on going downhill. You and Lexi in that confessional together snickering about Carlos and his history. I would like to see the whole tape production because I'm sure they said some reckless things. I am sure they said some reckless things about Tyson and Carlos. I would love to see the unedited footage of that confessional with the two of them snickering. So if y'all could just, kind of like send that to me privately. I won't say where I got it from. Nobody will know it came from production. Okay? Nobody will know. But y'all, thank you so much for joining me for this live recap and review of Kingscourt episode 2. I hope you having just as much fun as I am. And I guess I'll see you on the next one.